Thank you all for coming to our forum today. It looks like we have plenty of food, so feel free to go help yourself to seconds. Just wanted to give you a few housekeeping items before we get started. In case anybody needs them, the restrooms are downstairs. There's an elevator there if you need it, or there are stairs right here, and the restroom is behind the front desk. We will be recording this session today with Exeter Public Television so that we can let other people see who may not have been able to attend, so be on your best behavior. You will be on TV. We have some great technology here at the library. If you have difficulty hearing and you need further assistance, we'll be using the microphone to help project our voices, but if you need additional assistance, just give me a hands up. They have technology here where we can integrate hearing aids into the sound system, so we can pass this out if anybody needs it. And finally, I just wanted to let you know that we're going to do our best to keep this to 2 hours. We'll take a short break in between the first part of the forum and the second part, but we want to be respectful of everybody's time. It's a gorgeous day. We know you want to get outside too. Again, we appreciate you coming. So I just want to introduce my co-partners here. Scott Bogle is with Rockingham Planning Commission. David Tovey is the Assistant Director for Exeter Parks and Rec. And I just realized I failed to introduce myself. I'm Jill Onfell, also with the Rockingham Planning Commission. So I'm going to hand it over to David. He's going to give you just a brief overview of what's happened in Exeter thus far prior to our project here.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming. David Tovey, Assistant Director, Exeter Parks and Recreation. I'd like to thank Jill and Scott for all their hard work. I know Exeter is just one of several communities who is participating in this initiative, so I'd like to thank them for their hard work. Our local steering committee members that are here in the audience as well, thank you for all the work that they've done. For everyone who's participated in the survey, we really appreciate all of that, and of course the library for letting us host this event today.
I like that Doug Dicey days.
Yeah, so Doug Dicey Days. So brief history on age-friendly work in Exeter. We go back to the Doug Dicey days. For those of you who aren't familiar with Mr. Dicey, he was the Parks and Recreation Director in Exeter from 1971 to 2003. Did a lot of great work. Him and his wife Jane both worked in the department. And one of the great things that they started was the Council on Aging. And one of the programs that they started, which we still use today, is the taxi voucher program. If you're not familiar with that program, any resident that is 60 or older or disabled can purchase a book of 20 vouchers for $10, and they can use those vouchers just like they would with cash, and it's good for Academy Taxi. And fast forwarding a little bit to 2019, Melissa Roy, who's currently the Assistant Town Manager and HR Director, she was the Assistant Parks and Rec Director at the time, and her, myself, Greg Bisson, and everyone else in the department conducted a similar survey to the one that we just conducted ourselves. And it was to understand the needs of older adults in Exeter. That was really, to my knowledge, is when the ball got rolling on age-friendly work in town here. And we got a lot of great feedback and information from the residents. I think there's a lot of trends that we see in the most recent survey that we also saw in that one as well. And again, that got the ball rolling. Shortly after that, we restarted the Council on Aging, which was composed, or is composed of 15 plus organizations. There's a few here in the audience tonight. You'll get to meet them. And we were conducting monthly meetings, discussing next steps, going over the survey results, and trying to address some of those needs. Unfortunately, the pandemic hit shortly after that, so we weren't able to meet. But now, after the work that Rockingham Planning and Exeter Parks and Rec has been able to do on the survey, this is a great time to start up those monthly meetings again. My little pitch for you all, if there's anyone interested in joining that council, we would like to have residents, a nice variety of residents too. Please see me after. I can get your contact information, so I can let you know more about that. Also in 2020, the town started to subsidize programs and events. Prior to that, all of our programs and events were fee-based, just like most of our programs, all our youth sports and all of that. They're mostly all fee-based, so we don't get taxpayer dollars. However, in 2020, we did request that from the town. It was approved, so $7,500 went towards monthly socials, crafts, our summer barbecue, the walking program, which we've partnered with the Y and we still do, our aquatics programs, exercise classes, trips, things like that. And they are still subsidizing some of our programs and trips and stuff like that too. You may see it may be a little bit cheaper for residents as opposed to non-residents. Also, the town is currently working on making Exeter a walkable community. So, installing more sidewalks in town to make it safer for people to walk around. And of course, I wanted to also mention the library as well. Also, pre-COVID, they started their book talk program, 2 adult book programs, and a tech teach program as well. So in brief summary, there's not a whole lot that Exeter has done in regards to age-friendly programming or age-friendly work, but now is a great time to sort of change that, and we look forward to working with everyone, using the survey results to change that and do a lot more age-friendly work. So I'm going to hand it over to Scott, I believe.
Thank you, David. Hey, everybody. I'm Scott Bogle. I'm a transportation planner with Rockingham Planning Commission. And the reason RPC is involved and here today is that this year we've been fortunate to get a grant from the Tufts Health Plan Foundation, a 2-year grant to develop an age-friendly communities initiative for the RPC region. Rockingham Planning Commission isn't actually associated with Rockingham County. We work with 27 towns in the county from the seacoast out to the I-93 corridor. But on this, we're partnering with the Rockingham Nutrition Meals on Wheels program. Tufts Health Plan Foundation will only fund 501c3 nonprofit organizations. And so the Planning Commission and Rockingham Nutrition Meals on Wheels have partnered on this project. So let me step back just for a minute and talk about the term age-friendly communities. This is something that AARP coined nationally to describe communities that support residents thriving at every age and every stage of life. And so AARP has a national framework for developing community assessments to support communities as a first step in moving towards better age friendliness. And so we're using that AARP national framework for the assessments that we're doing in Exeter as well as 5 other communities this year. And there will be another 5 or 6 communities where we do assessments next year. But work that we're doing this year and with this whole initiative builds on work that's been done by 3 other regional planning commissions around the state over the last 4 or 5 years, starting with the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission in the Greater Manchester area, the Southwest Regional Planning Commission out in the Keene and Adnock area. Stratford Regional Planning Commission got a grant last year and has been doing similar work. Also in the Mount Washington Valley, the Gibson Center for Senior Services worked directly with AARP New Hampshire on a similar regional assessment. And then here in the Seacoast, Portsmouth has done some of this sort of age-friendly community assessment work in the past, as well as Exeter, as David just described. So from the Planning Commission standpoint, what's kind of driving this work is this chart here, and the really steep growth in the older adult population in the region. And to some extent, this is something that we see nationally with the aging of the baby boom generation, particularly in this part of the state and in other parts of the state. A lot of communities have permitted a good deal of age-restricted housing as well. And so there's been an in-migration of older adults into the region in addition to the aging of the baby boom generation. But between 2015 and 2040, in New Hampshire, we're projecting almost a doubling of the population over age 65. So next slide. I'm a transportation planner, so we've been thinking about this from a transportation standpoint because older adults are disproportionately likely to have unmet transportation needs. AARP estimates that 1 in 5 Americans over age 65 doesn't drive. So if we look out to the population projections from the state planning office, that means 75,000 non-driving seniors around the state by 2030. And we don't have capacity to provide rides for all of those older adults currently. And so working to build that capacity is something the Planning Commission, the other regional planning commissions, and a lot of nonprofit partners are working on. So the AARP Age-Friendly Communities model includes 8 dimensions of age-friendliness: outdoor spaces and buildings, transportation, housing, social participation, respect and social inclusion, work and civic engagement, communication and information flow in communities. How are people getting information on what services are available? Health and nutrition services certainly are a key aspect of this. Outdoor spaces and buildings. Most public buildings are accessible under the Americans with Disabilities Act, but often park facilities might not be, or trail facilities, or playgrounds. Transportation, we talked about unmet transportation needs. Housing, oftentimes an older individual or couple might be in a 3 or even 4 bedroom house that was just the right size for them when their kids were at home. But once their kids have grown, moved out, that's a lot of space to maintain. Are there options to downsize that are affordable when you're ready to do that? Social participation is certainly a key aspect of health, both physical and emotional health in aging. Respect and social inclusion looks at to what extent is our community welcoming to everybody who's a resident, regardless of where you were born, what your race is. Work and civic engagement, are there opportunities for volunteering, for continuing to be involved in your community? Let's go to the next. So we're doing these community assessments in 5 communities around the region. 6. Each of these is guided by a local steering committee made up of town staff and residents. Each of these involves a community survey, and we're going to be sharing results from the community survey that was conducted here in Exeter over the last couple of months. 1 or 2 local community forums to gather additional resident input. An asset inventory, looking at the range of services and programs that are available to residents, and particularly older adult residents. And then pulling that information together with input from the local steering committee into an assessment report. And we're expecting that we will finish these this summer. And then information in that assessment report is available to towns in identifying program needs, in updating master plans, and in planning for municipal services and programs going forward. Just one last note, at the regional level, this is being guided by a regional steering committee that's made up of 1 representative from each of the assessment communities, and we have different municipal roles on that. David is on as a Parks and Recreation director, or deputy director. We have a select board member from Stratham, a town administrator from another community, librarian from Fremont, planning board members, and another select board member from Hampstead. But then we also have folks from different agencies who provide services that tie in with those 8 dimensions of sustainability, or 8 dimensions of age-friendly communities. So with that overview, let me turn it over to Jill to give you a bit of information about the survey results.
Okay. So over the last couple months, as Scott said, we've been fielding a survey here in Exeter. We had 359 respondents. 70% of those were female, and if you look out in our audience, I think that may not come as a surprise to somebody. In terms of the age distribution, we had 34% were 54 years of age or under, 16% were at 55 to 64 category, 26% 65 to 74, and 24% were 75 to 84 years old. We had a fairly even distribution in terms of survey respondents across income levels, and we did offer the survey in both a paper version and an online version for people who would prefer to use one or the other. So one of the questions we asked was, how long have you lived in Exeter? And the group with the most representation was people who have lived here from 5 to 10 years. That was about 22%. Another almost 22% had lived in Exeter for less than 5 years. We had about 19% who had lived here from anywhere between 11 and 20 years. 12% who had lived here 21 to 30 years. Another 11% who had lived here 31 to 40 years. And about 10% of our survey respondents had lived here for more than 41 years. So we'd have a pretty heavy amount of people who are fairly new to Exeter. When we asked people how important it is to remain in Exeter as they reach their 70s, 80s, and beyond, we found that it was very, very important for people. 36% said it was extremely important to remain in Exeter. Another 32% said it was very important. And then you can see it trails off. There was only about 9% who said it was not very important, and about 3% that was not at all important. So by and large, people want to remain in Exeter as they get older. Likewise, we asked, how important is it to you to be able to live independently in your own home as you grow older? Here we had 55% saying it was extremely important to live independently in their own home. Another almost 32% saying it was very important to live independently. Another 10% saying it was somewhat important to live independently. So vast majority, that would be their preference. So then we asked people, what concerns you most about growing older in Exeter? And we had a variety of responses here. People could select more than one concern, so that's why it doesn't add up to 100%. But we had 54% of people tell us that having transportation options once they stopped driving was a concern. Another 53% were concerned about having medical services nearby. 50% were concerned about having in-home support services available. 45% were concerned about having family or friends nearby. 44% were concerned about having recreational and social opportunities. 42% were concerned about the cost of in-home support services. And over a quarter of the respondents were concerned about finding the right place to live. So then we asked an open-ended question, what changes would help you to grow older in Exeter? We obviously had hundreds of different responses, but we tried to summarize them here. These were the kind of themes that kept coming up over and over again. Having additional transportation options would be helpful, having more social and recreation opportunities, having access to affordable housing, access to in-home senior services, lower property taxes, and improved bike and walkability. So the survey was much longer than what we have here, and as Scott was saying, all the survey results will be included in that final assessment. But what we were able to do was boil it down with the help of our local steering committee into kind of these three key themes, and these are going to be themes that we'll talk about through the rest of the morning. The first is recreation and social opportunities. The second is access to senior services, and here we're kind of broadly defining that as anything from in-home health services, transportation options, help with things like cooking and cleaning, assistance with yard maintenance, shoveling, raking, things like that. And then the third key theme that we realized kept coming up was sort of a lack of information sharing, the need for more leadership, more of a central organization to help get information out to seniors as well as to help them organize. Because we know that there are some services that are lacking in town, but we also know that there are services that are available that residents just might not know about. So making sure that the information is available for everybody. So along that last theme, one of the things we wanted to accomplish today, in addition to getting your feedback, was to have some of our partners who are working in the Exeter community be able to give you kind of a brief overview about what they do. So we have representatives from a variety of groups here today. We're going to give them each a couple minutes to just give you a quick overview about what their organization offers. We will take a 5-minute break after this, and you can ask them any questions. And then we have this room for the entire day. So at the end of the forum, if you have additional questions for any of our partners, feel free to stick around. And I'm assuming they'll all be willing to stick around as well and answer any additional questions you have. But we're going to invite each one up to, again, just give you kind of a brief overview of what they do. And we figured we'd start with Exeter, Exeter Parks and Rec, and also the Exeter Library. So, David, do you want to just give a quick?
Sure. All right, yeah, so some of the things that Exeter Parks and Rec offers, we do programs for all ages, but particularly for older adults, I'd say our most popular is our day trips. We have a fairly new 15-passenger van. Maybe some of you have joined us for a trip or two, but we travel all across New England, and those are really popular. New this year, we're actually partnering with Best of Times, and we're going to be offering 2 overnight trips. One of them is a Boston to Bermuda cruise, which is going to be in 2023. The other one is called the Nashville Country Christmas. They're each, the Country Christmas is about 3 nights, the other one is a little bit longer. But other than our trips, we have programs, health and wellness programs. As I mentioned earlier, we have a walking program that we partner with the YMCA on. We offer chair yoga, Zumba, we have gentle strength and balance. We have a gentle mat yoga program. In the summertime, we have Aqua Zumba, which is a great time. It's a free program. We also offer water aerobics, also free. That's down at our pool located at 4 Hampton Road. I mentioned the taxi voucher program that we still offer. We have our senior barbecue coming up, monthly socials. We do partner down with 277 Water Street, and we'll offer some monthly crafts down there as well. And we're happy to partner with any other housing authority in town here too. I think we're going to be maybe doing something at Chestnut Street properties soon. We're going to have a representative from Newburyport Bank and Detective Bruce Page come down and talk about frauds and scams and things like that too. We're always open to new ideas for anyone that would like to see a new program or activity, event in town. Please let us know. I've brought our brochure with us too, which lists all of our programs and services that we offer at Exeter Parks and Rec. So that's kind of a brief summary of what we offer. We were fortunate enough to acquire a new building at 10 Hampton Road. And there will be a dedicated space in that building for older adults too, so we're really excited to have a dedicated space for those.
When will that open?
That's a good question. Right now, we're trying to get contractors in there.
We own it already?
We own it, yep. We are maintaining it, outside, cutting grass, things like that. The parking is available there too, which I drive by it every day on my way home and on the way to work, and there's always cars in there too for softball games, soccer games, and things like that. Yes?
Is there going to be transportation there?
That is something we are working on too. As I mentioned, we have our van, so we are looking into offering transportation, maybe pickup spots.
I take Uber and stuff there. I take the senior bus.
Yeah.
But I can't get to this new place.
Yeah. So there's transportation options, as you just mentioned. Meals on Wheels offers transportation, Service Link, I know there's a few other organizations, I'll let them speak to that, but it's something that we're looking into with our own van that we have, maybe creating some sort of schedule for pickup times to bring people, because we understand it's not that close to the downtown area, so yeah, that's something we'll be looking into. And it's probably something that we see a lot in the survey results as well, is transportation or a lack of transportation.
Yeah, because a lot of the transportation is only for like groceries and medical appointments. They don't
Right.
take you to recreational things.
Right, yeah. Any other questions? All right, well, we'll
Exeter Library?
moving on to Exeter Library.
Let me just make a note. We're really pleased with how many service providers joined us today, and it was more than we actually anticipated. So just thinking about remaining brief with the comments, and David modeled that nicely. And maybe a question or two after each, but then if you have supplemental questions, there'll be an opportunity during the break or after the meeting, so we can get through all of the summaries. And because we want to get to the point of our breakout groups where we get some additional input from all of you.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the library.
Yay.
My name is Julia Lanter and I'm the assistant director here at the library. And it's so wonderful to see all of you here in our new meeting room space, because this is why we had our great new renovation, so we can have more of you visiting us all year round at the library. And there's so many things that you seniors can do at the library. We have 2 adult book groups, one during the day, one in the evenings. We also have a wonderful movie program at 1 on every Monday morning, unless it's a holiday, a federal holiday. We have a new movie shown. So these are movies that are new to DVD. We just showed Belfast, which was one of the Oscar nominations. So there's always a new movie to watch on Mondays here at the library. We also have wonderful programming that is all year round, like our music series. We have live music at the library at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. We have, in addition to that, wonderful Tech Teach programs. Raise your hand if you've ever wanted to throw electrical equipment across the room, because it just wasn't behaving. We have a lovely tech associate here. Her name is Beth, and she does one-on-one tech services with not just seniors, but anyone who would like to throw their equipment across the room. And we're also developing with her some more formal classes where you would come to a class for a half an hour and then have a one-on-one session later. So that's something that's going to be happening later on in the year.
What's her name?
Her name is Beth Kendall. And if you want to, after this session, because I know you're going to have your groups, I'm happy to introduce Beth to anyone who would like to meet her and make an appointment while you're here. The other thing about the library is we always want to have programming that is about what you are interested in. Right now, I'm digging in my garden. It's gardening season in Exeter. So we have a program associated with gardening going on. We just had John Forty with Bedrock Gardens come in to talk about Bedrock Gardens, and he'll be back this month on the 24th of May at 6:30, and he's going to be talking about heirloom gardening. So how can you save your seeds, also grow vegetables using compost and natural tools. So if you're a gardener, I hope to see you back at the library. And the thing about the library is we want to hear from you. The programming that we run comes from you. We always use patron suggestions. So let us know what you are interested in having at the library, and we'd love to host you. So that's it for me. I'm not sure who's after me for the lineup, but.
We have a representative from ServiceLink here.
All right, yay. And thank you all. I so hope to see all of you at the library.
We might pass over ServiceLink for the time being. How about Exeter Hospital? Thank you, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us here today. Good morning, my name is Debbie Bassapoli, and I'm the Director for Community and Public Relations for Exeter Health Resources. And so Exeter Health Resources is a parent company for Exeter Hospital, Core Physicians, and Rockingham Visiting Nurse Association and Hospice. So I brought flyers about the different services that we provide, both and outpatient services and inpatient. and certainly in home with Rockingham DNA. We're also very proud to work with many of the different nonprofits that you see here through our community impact program, supporting activities in the community through our grants and sponsorships. So we're very pleased to be able to do that and help in different areas. I'm going to be very brief because I know you do have a packed agenda. But again, I do have the flyers here. Feel free to take one. I do want to say two quick other important things about the hospital. Right now, we're in the middle of our community health needs assessment as well. Every 3 years we conduct it. We're in the process of doing that now, and you'll see very soon public forums coming out into the community. I invite you to join, whether it be in person or via WebEx. We'll have many different options, because when we identify the needs in the community every 3 years, it primarily directs our community impact program, which prior to COVID, it has been on pause during COVID. We distribute about $1 million into the community to different programs and services, and primarily those dollars go to what we identify in the community health needs assessment. So it's very important if you have an opportunity to participate in that. Secondly, I'd just like to mention as well that next week on Wednesday, May 18th at 5 o'clock, there's going to be a public information session, listening session for our proposed affiliation with Beth Israel Lahey Health. And that is an opportunity for Exeter Health Resources and its affiliates to become part of the Beth Israel Lahey Health system of care, which would bring tremendous resources back into the community of Exeter and the surrounding Seacoast area. So the proposed affiliation actually promotes community-based care and would bring incredible resources to all of us, whether it's the elder population or all ages living here in the Seacoast. So I encourage you as well to be on the lookout and participate via WebEx in that community forum coming up on Wednesday. If you have any questions or you can't find any information, feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure my email's right on the website actually at Exeter Hospital. Happy to help in any way. And I will leave these flyers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have you put the flyers right over on that table, actually, where all our other information is? Do we have a representative from Riverwoods here?
Right here.
All right, fantastic. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Clark. I'm the sales manager for Riverwoods Exeter. How many of you are familiar with who we are? Okay, portion of you. Great. So you know we've been around since 1994. We're a continuing care retirement community where our residents move in as independent living residents, and then they can transition into assisted living and other higher levels of health care. We have about 600 residents in our community located out Route 111. And as such, we are actually the largest taxpayer in the town of Exeter. Even if you're not living there, there's things that you can take advantage of at Riverwoods Exeter. We have between 4 and 6 miles of walking trails on our property, and because our residents are all elderly, they're actually really nice, easy to walk walking paths. So I actually brought over on this table, this higher table here, some trail maps and some other information about our community. We are a charitable, not-for-profit organization, and many of our residents have a history of volunteerism, much of which has been on hold in the last 2 years due to the pandemic, but we're going to be conducting a volunteer fair this fall for our residents. So if you are aware of any organizations that are in need of volunteers and have opportunities for that, we would love for you to reach out to us so we can include you in that fair. Another resource that we can provide to you, even if you're not a resident there, is we have a series of podcasts specifically around the topic of aging, where we interview well-known authors, scientists, researchers on the topic of aging. I also have a handout on my table about that if you're somebody who enjoys podcasts. If podcasts is just too tech forward for you, we've also got webinars and events listed on our website where we host events on Zoom on similar topics. So I hope you'll check us out, and thank you for including us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next is Rockingham Nutrition and Meals on Wheels.
my name is Alice Gibbs. I'm from Rockingham Nutrition Meals on Wheels. I am the site manager here in Exeter. We have 12 different sites throughout Rockingham County and work with a number of these organizations. Meals on Wheels is not your grandmother's Meals on Wheels any longer. My grandmother's used it, my mother is using it now, and I hope it's there for me when it's my turn to use it too. The meals are offered Monday through Friday. We deliver, home deliver. We also now have a takeout delivery where people can come and pick it up, which occurred during COVID. We also have our congregation group, which is getting back to order after 2 years of a hiatus, and we're trying to get back to having our groups. We have exercise program, crafting. We will have our monthly special again with entertainers. One of the things that we also do for Meals on Wheels is that we have a bus here in town that is for people 60 plus. Also, if you have a disability, if you're disabled. And with the 60 plus, we offer a trip to Walmart once a week, shopping. That's the furthest we go. Grocery shopping in the Stratham, Exeter area, and medical appointments. Sometimes, if there's time, hairdresser appointments are in there too, because that's part of socializing and making yourself feel so much better. We're a very important group. We're one that helps just about anyone in the community. You don't have to be 103 and destitute on the street to have Meals on Wheels. We have different levels of need, different requirements for people to attend. If you're having a knee surgery and you know that you're going to be unable to shop for yourself, take care of yourself 6 weeks or so, you can call and plan ahead, and we can set it up that you'll receive delivery during that time. So there are a lot of aspects to it. More people are welcome to use it and available to use it. They just don't know that that's open to them and available. So that's my spiel.
Thank you. Do we have a representative from Task here?
You sure do.
Great. Thank you, welcome.
Thank you for having me. My name is Carol Gullah. I'm the Director of Task Transportation Assistance for Seacoast Citizens. And obviously with the name, we provide some transportation. But I'm going to switch it around a little bit. Our mission says we help people maintain their health, independence, and dignity. And that is the primary reason we exist. We do it by mobilizing volunteer drivers. So in some ways, we're addressing two components of age-friendly communities. One is we are helping people get from point A to point B. But two, we are providing an opportunity. I'm going to say as kindly as I can. Most of our drivers are older active retirees. And it is a fabulous volunteer opportunity for those older active folks who can help their peers get where they need to go. It is social engagement, it's connection, it's providing purpose, it's keeping everybody healthy and engaged. So that's the first piece. The second piece I'm going to address right off. Task, the only thing that limits where we go is having an available volunteer. We have people on the road 6 days a week. We have volunteers who are getting up at, God help them, 5 a.m. to get people to dialysis. There's a rule, nobody calls me at 5 a.m. if there's a problem. Just not happening. But we also have, most of the rides are, in all honesty, for medical appointments. But we also provide rides for social activities, recreational activities. We've given rides to take somebody to an adaptive surf lesson on York Beach. We've, the best one was Future Insight. It used to be the New Hampshire Association for the Blind. Had come up with an activity. They were taking a group of visually impaired folks to a shooting range in Barrington.
Wow.
And I happened to have somebody, a volunteer and a member of the board at the time, who was an active sportsman. So I called him, I said, I've got the volunteer ride for you. And when I told him what it was an evening in Barrington, he says, oh, I'm on board. And he picked up these 3 women, and they, with guidance, shot at targets. We are available for anything as long as there's a volunteer. That's the biggest caveat. Grocery shopping, hairdresser, what have you. And then back to basics. We serve 11 communities in the Seacoast area. The requirements to use TASK are pretty darn simple. You have to live in one of the 11 towns. You have to be age 55 or better. Notice I say better, no senior citizens here, 55 or better. Or another adult with a disability that keeps you from driving. You do have to register with us. It's a pretty simple registration. And I do have forms, I'll put them on the table. And that really is, oh, by the way, there is no charge for rides with TASK. We do not want cost to be another obstacle for folks to get where they need to go, to stay healthy, to stay engaged, to stay independent. Is that close enough? Is that true?
Thank you. Right, how about the YMCA?
Hi everyone, I'm Brady Lufkin. I'm the Healthy Living Coordinator over at the Y. I'm also a personal trainer and nutritionist. This is...
Hi everyone, I'm Barbara Peterson. I'm the Membership Director at the Y. And just to start with, want to make sure you know where it's located. The old Exeter High School on Linden Street. So we're the Southern District YMCA. And the seniors represent our top 3 demographics. At the Y, and we have quite a bit of programming similar to what others said here, which is we look to our members for advice on what they want. So anytime if there's something that you want, we always want to hear. Currently, some of the things that we offer are group exercise. There's senior strength and balance classes, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11:15 to 12:15. We have Zumba. We have Zumba stars too, so if you think you like dance or maybe you don't, or you don't want to move as quickly, we have a Zumba Stars also, which is just a slowed down version of Zumba. We have indoor pickleball as well, Monday through Fridays in the mornings. We also have some evidence-based health initiatives. Walk with Ease is one of those, and that's a program that is for folks with arthritis. It is a bit of a curriculum-based program, 10 minutes of curriculum, no homework, but then a walking group. And the intent is to make you move, to get you to move. And in the future, we'll have, in the very short future, we'll have some diabetes prevention program. And that, just as an aside, you can access that program through otherwise in addition to ours in the future. So just if that's a concern of yours, that is out there amongst the Ys in our southern New Hampshire. We have Live Strong is another program that's will be offered very shortly, and that's for anyone who is a cancer survivor, whether it's yesterday or a number of years ago, and it's an opportunity to come together. We have Lunch and Learns. We're working with Exeter Park and Rec to offer those once a month, July. Hopefully that's going to start. And I think I've covered everything. We are also a charitable nonprofit, and thrilled to have you be a part of the community.
Thank you. Did I miss any of our partners? Anybody else? Oh, come on up.
Hi everyone, I'm Pam McElroy. I'm the Senior Executive Assistant to the Town Manager, and I'm also the Human Services Administrator, the Welfare Administrator. And I work with all of the organizations. So if you find that you are looking for a specific form of assistance, but you forget maybe one of the people that you met here, you're welcome to call the Town Manager's office, and I can help direct you into that. the right situation for you. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we are going to do a quick 5-minute break. I would ask all of our partners if you would be willing to come to the front of the room if people have any questions. We have information on the
We just need to find places to get together so we can all meet each other. Nowadays, I walk down the street, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you for a while. Otherwise, you don't know anybody. I don't know many people.
What are there in town in your perception in terms of places that folks would meet kind of informally?
Maybe we could informally have like a different restaurant every month or something. Let's go to whatever. Let's go to there and have lunch, or we could meet at a concert. Lots of concerts coming up. I think we all just need to integrate into each other and get to meet people.
Just talking about that over there, how there's like Facebook community pages, but if there's one that the town sanctioned, they want to control what's getting put up there.
Right.
They want to disseminate information.
Yeah.
It used to be the old email listserv.
Sure.
And maybe that's the way to go with seniors because they don't want to go on Facebook.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot are on it, but yeah, we can add that for getting information out to seniors that you could think of.
Do you have the flyers here
We have flyers here. Yes. In our
all
brochure.
the time? Like, yeah,
Yep.
because a lot of people come to the library.
Yeah. So flyers, brochures.
So what if we were to take that idea and modernize it by having some type of tablet or something that could be changed and updated? It's not throwing out flyers, having to take them off a board,
Right.
or
So electronic.
it's something electronic
Yeah.
display in various places that
Oh,
gives the
yeah.
same information
Sort of like
out
a
at the
TV and
same
stuff, how
time.
they- yeah.
Yeah, so you'd have one, the lobby of certain places, the lobby of the hospital.
Those things make
But I just want to thank everybody for participating today. We really appreciate you coming out on this beautiful day and giving us your input. We will be taking all of the feedback that we got from you as well as from the survey and putting it together in a community assessment, which we'll make sure goes on the Exeter Parks and Rec page. And we really hope that this is just the beginning of the conversation. So thank you guys for coming. And there's plenty of extra food, so grab some on the way